Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the very last set of movies that I saw in 2016. Since the beginning of 2016, today we're going to be talking about movies that came out in October, November, September, October, November, and December. It wasn't a bad movie. I thought it was very faithful to the book. I'd read the book right before I went to go see it, and I thought they did a really good job of bringing the book to the screen. There wasn't a whole lot of changes. Nothing was really significantly different. However, I found the movie to be kind of forgettable. At this point right now, trying to talk about it, I don't really know what my feelings are about it because I don't really remember the movie. It wasn't as shocking as Gone Girl was by any means. That movie is in the same genre and type of this, but that one you like remember because it's crazy and it's effed up. This one like didn't reach it quite for me. It was a very slow, very quiet movie. It just didn't really draw you in entirely. I also went to pee during like the climax scene of the movie. Even though I know what happened, I missed the like big moment of the movie and I was really irritated about it, so that really sucked. It was just really not something I'm ever going to actively seek out to watch again. I was kind of let down with its adaptation from the book. I don't even know why I should be because it was really faithful to the book. I just don't know if it was the best thing to adapt to the screen. Like, it's such an internal book. You just don't get that when you're watching a movie because you're not like in their head the same way you are in a first person narrative. So I just don't think it's successfully translated to screen. Unfortunately, this one just wasn't my favorite this time around. The movie was really good. I really enjoyed it. I don't know how I would compare it to the first two that they've made because I haven't seen them in a really long time. They totally changed the ending. It was vastly different from the book. I understand why they did it. The way the book ended isn't like cinematically explosive. Like, it's not super shocking. It's not super crazy. It has a really nice resolution to it. The way the movie ended was just quite different. I don't know if they're trying to keep the audience who had read the book on their toes, or if they just didn't think that the way the book ended was exciting enough for a movie. The ending was very, very different. But the rest of the movie was fairly well done. It is slightly different in parts than the book. Things move a little bit quicker. They don't explain everything in as much detail as the book, obviously. And so you miss out on a little bit of like key information here and there. So if you've read the book and then you go and see the movie, I think you get a little bit more out of it. But it was still a really fun, enjoyable action movie. I really liked all the scavenger hunt aspects to it, but I felt like it was a little bit forced in some instances. It felt like the story was really forcing the character's hand. Overall, I just really like the series. I really like Robert Langdon and I like his stories and I like the scavenger hunt aspect and all the history that you learn. I would definitely watch this again in the future. As per usual, Tom Hanks did a wonderful job as Robert Langdon. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot less like trippy than the trailers made it seem. It looked a lot like Inception, and Inception was just a little bit too much for me. It's like a Marvel superhero meets Inception, and that's really weird. I don't know how I feel about that. But they really explained it really well, and I really like what it added to the overall Marvel Cinematic Universe. I ultimately wondered, too, going into this movie, how Doctor Strange is going to tie into the rest of the series, since it's being introduced so late in the whole overarching storyline. And I think they did a really good job in the end scene credits with showing how they're going to incorporate Doctor Strange in the future movies. And I'm really excited for the movie that he's going to be featured in. Plus, the like end scene credits showed that there are a couple other consequences to the actions of Doctor Strange in this particular movie, and so I'm excited to see how that will come back into play later on, how that character will come back into play later on. I just really enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would, and I really liked his cloak. It reminded me of like a very much like a Harry Potter cloak, something you would see in the Wizarding World. Despite this being a very different approach to Marvel, there's definitely like more magic and it's more fantastical. It's not as realistic. Not that Marvel is really realistic. It has like an edge to it with like the magic and everything that's just not quite realistic, but they make it seem plausible and they make it make sense in the scope of their timeline, and I'm really excited to see where the rest of the series is going to go moving forward, which was phenomenal. 5 out of 5 stars. Cannot wait to buy this on DVD so I can watch it over and over and over and over and over again because it's new Wizarding World material and I'm obsessed. I loved every minute of it. It was seriously spot on, perfect, wonderful. So many theories surround this film. I did film an entire movie review for this. I haven't had time to edit it yet. It is an hour of raw footage that will be up eventually. I can't wait to put that together because I talk about so much stuff. I'm just really excited to see where we go with this. You know, 1920s New York. It sounds like the second movie will take place in Paris. Maybe that means we're gonna have some more of the Beauxbatons Academy thrown in there because they're from France. Just like the possibilities are endless. Give me all the Harry Potter everything, please. I know I didn't talk a whole lot about my feelings for the actual movie because like I said, we'll probably have a 20-minute video up on this channel at some point about it, so I don't need to rehash all that here as well. Let's give you a little teaser of what's to come. I actually had no plans to see. I had really no interest in it. I absolutely adored this movie. The soundtrack, they did a wonderful job on the soundtrack because You're Welcome, that was sung by Dwayne Johnson, was stuck in my head for probably about 2 weeks after I saw that movie. Every day I'm singing about You're Welcome and how he's the best demigod in the world. So they definitely created a very catchy soundtrack that stuck with you. I thought Moana was a very kick-ass character. She reminded me a lot of Pocahontas. And Pocahontas is actually a movie that came out during the Renaissance era that kind of flopped for Disney. Pocahontas is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love it so much, so it just gave me a lot of like nostalgic vibes. Visuals were beautiful. It was so brightly colored and well animated. I really enjoyed it. I loved Pua, the little like pig. I wish we had more Pua in the movie. That's like my only complaint, is that there was too much of the crazy chicken and we needed more Pua. Like I wish she could have taken Pua with her on the boat and not the crazy chicken, because the chicken was like the stupidest bird to have ever existed ever. How that thing did not die is a miracle. The only thing that really turned me off was the scene in the realm of the monsters with the giant crab. That was very bizarre. Didn't really like that scene. But aside from that, I loved everything else about the movie. It was well animated, it was well voiced, it was well sang, it was just really beautiful, and I can't wait for it to come out on DVD for me to watch endlessly, because that's what I do. This movie, guys. Oh my god. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. Like, I've seen all the Star Wars movies. This movie was so good. I loved it. I know a lot of people have like some reservations about it. I thought it looked like Star Wars. It had the same aesthetic appeal as The Force Awakens, which was supposed to look like the original 3 movies. I think that Rogue One did a good job being very true to what Star Wars is. Loved all of the references and tie-ins to the original trilogy. The end scene got me in the feels because of what's happened recently with a certain Star Wars idol. Ooh, that was a little too much, a little too fresh. Obviously they didn't know that that was gonna happen when they made this movie. Oh my gosh. Everyone goes into it knowing all the characters have to die because none of these characters are present in the original trilogies. But I became so attached to them and I grew to like a couple of the characters so much that my eyes were burning. I was on the verge of tears for these stupid characters. And I knew that they all had to die. If you didn't know, Rogue One is about how the rebels retrieve the plans for the Death Star and how they get them to Princess Leia in A New Hope. It gave me a lot of feels. I especially liked the droid in this movie. K2 was spot on. They could not have done a better job with K2. I really enjoyed this movie. I loved learning more about the Star Wars universe. I loved having more of the backstory filled in. It's always cool when you have something so iconic get new material that really works well with it. I think that they're doing a really good job of appropriately expanding on Star Wars. I couldn't stop thinking about it for the rest of the day after we left that theater. I was so just like amazed by what they had done and how they used stock footage from the original Star Wars trilogy. They like took footage from A New Hope that was never included in A New Hope and they remastered it to be included in this movie, and they used characters who had passed away in real life and had body doubles and then just like CGI'd their faces onto them, and it was so well done you couldn't even tell if it wasn't the same person, and it was just amazing. There were so many like references to A New Hope and it like butts up right with the beginning of A New Hope. It was so well done. So if you also saw any of these movies mentioned in this video today, I'd love to know what you thought of them in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!